Lisa Connor-Swain has made it clear how she feels about Dylan Wilson in recent Coronation Street episodes, so Betsy Swain is understandably worried about how her mother will respond to her latest decision. Betsy has been struggling to adjust to life after suffering a stroke, which has significantly affected both her speech and mobility. Doctors confirm that the stroke was caused by Dylan strangling Betsy during a sexual encounter, leaving the young couple facing a deeply complicated and emotional situation. Although Betsy has no desire to see Dylan punished, Lisa has already reminded her that, regardless of whether she consented, Dylan committed an offense by causing her physical injury. Discussing the storyline, Sydney Martin previously told Metro, "It's such a tricky situation. She's got a detective as a mum who's going to know the ins and outs of the law, which the average person wouldn't. It's only a recent law that's been brought in. Even with consent, if someone has been physically injured from it, he is still liable by law and could be charged. That's such a tricky situation, because you've got a mum, rightfully so, absolutely livid. As you would be. That's her baby." In scenes airing next week, Betsy opens up to Ryan Connor and admits she wants to speak to Dylan, despite knowing Lisa will strongly disapprove. Ryan decides to arrange a meeting by asking Dylan to come to number 6, where Betsy assures him that she does not hold him responsible for what happened to her. Their conversation is suddenly cut short when Lisa unexpectedly walks in, leaving Dylan facing an uncomfortable confrontation. Lisa is not the only person determined to see Dylan answer for his actions, as Lauren Bolton also turns against him after learning about his meeting with Betsy. When Ryan reveals that Dylan visited Betsy, Lauren is left horrified and later chases him through the precinct. A newly released spoiler video shows the confrontation spiraling out of control. As Lauren angrily blames Dylan for Betsy having to relearn how to walk, he continues to insist that he is not responsible. The argument reaches a dramatic climax when Lauren slaps Dylan before pushing him to the ground. He strikes his head in the fall and is left unconscious. Panicking over what has happened, Lauren runs away from the scene. How will Betsy respond when she discovers Dylan has been attacked? And what will Lisa do next? Bethany Platt receives a much-needed boost in Coronation Street next week after Kit Green uncovers a promising new lead that could improve Sarah's chances. Sarah is currently serving time in prison after confessing to killing Theo Silverton, but she has continued to keep Gary Windus out of the investigation, despite his role in the events that followed Theo's death. However, Kit begins to believe that Gary's involvement could actually strengthen Sarah's case. The storyline unfolds when Jay arrives at Kit's flat carrying a hard drive containing the mobile phone data the detective requested as he continues to piece together the truth about the night Theo died. Eager to know what Kit has discovered, Bethany presses him for answers, leading him to reveal the theory he has been working on. He explains that although Sarah admitted responsibility for Theo's death, Gary's actions afterwards may have significantly influenced the outcome of the case. Kit believes that if he can prove Gary prevented Sarah from going directly to the police, it could be used to argue for a reduced prison sentence. For Bethany, who has been clinging to any sign of hope since her mother was jailed, the revelation offers the first real reason to believe Sarah's future may not be as bleak as it seems. Determined to find evidence, Kit begins examining the information recovered from Gary's phone, carefully searching through the data. It isn't long before he notices something important that immediately grabs his attention. Although the discovery remains under wraps, it is enough to convince Kit that he needs to speak with Gary without delay. After finding Gary in the Rover's return, Kit casually remarks that he has had an interesting day before suggesting Gary should visit his flat later for a chat. Unsurprisingly, Gary is unlikely to be looking forward to that meeting. The latest development follows a series of emotional events for the Platt family. Earlier in the week, Bethany traveled to the prison to update Sarah on everything she had missed, including Jody's unexpected appearance during Audrey Roberts' birthday celebrations. She also revealed that Jody had admitted to the police that she attacked Sarah on the night Theo died, finally confessing what happened after Sarah fled the scene. Despite the mounting pressure, Sarah has continued to protect Gary by refusing to reveal his involvement to investigators. During her interview with DS Lisa Connor-Swain, Sarah confessed to killing Theo, but maintained that Gary had little involvement in the events that followed. She claimed she ended the phone call to him almost immediately after he answered. Kit has remained unconvinced by Sarah's account and has repeatedly encouraged her to reveal the complete truth, believing Gary's efforts to conceal the incident ultimately made Sarah's legal situation far more serious. Despite Kit's concerns, Sarah has continued to protect Gary, insisting he only became involved because she pleaded with him for help. While the police investigation continues, Gary's deception has already taken its toll on his home life. Maria Connor recently uncovered a wedding photograph proving Gary was not where he claimed to have been on the night Theo died. Faced with the evidence, Gary admitted that he disposed of the murder weapon and even sent a text message from Theo's phone in an attempt to hide what had happened. Although the revelation left Maria heartbroken, she eventually decided not to retract the statement she had already given to the police, fearing the consequences it could have for Liam and Jake. With Sarah still refusing to expose Gary and Kit appearing to move ever closer to discovering the truth, next week's episodes could mark a major turning point in the investigation. The question now is whether Kit has finally uncovered the evidence that could improve Sarah's situation, or if another shocking twist is still waiting before the full truth behind Theo's death comes to light. And if Gary is ultimately drawn into the investigation, will Sarah ever be able to forgive Kit? Cassie Plummer's latest attempt at revenge ends in disaster in Coronation Street, leaving another resident caught in the crossfire. The ongoing feud between Cassie and Ross Wilkes takes another dramatic turn, with devastating consequences for someone completely innocent. Their bitter conflict began after Cassie publicly revealed that Ross had paid her for sex when she was a teenager, exposing him as a pedophile during his birthday celebration after discovering Tyrone Dobbs had never been told the truth. The revelation left Cassie in tears, horrified Tracy Barlow, and forced Tyrone to confront Ross's insistence that he believed Cassie was older at the time. In the end, Tyrone agreed to give his father another opportunity, provided Cassie was willing to accept his decision. Although she reluctantly accepted Ross's apology for her son's sake, the situation soon took a much darker turn. Ross later cornered Cassie, pinning her against a wall and threatening to kill her if she caused him any more trouble. In today's episode, Amy Barlow was making smoothies in the Barlow kitchen and offered drinks to everyone in the house. Cassie was furious to discover that Ross had spent the night at number 1 and that Tracy had forgiven him. However, she became interested when she learned it was Ross's first day working at Highfield Prison and that he would be required to take a drugs test. Once the house was empty, Cassie crushed several of Tyrone's painkillers into Ross's smoothie before making a quick exit through the back door. Hearing the disturbance, Ross looked out of the window and spotted Cassie hurrying away, leaving him suspicious. Coronation Street airs on weeknights